Since the first human being opened their eyes under the new weight of conscious uncertainty, they couldn't help but look to the stars in wonder. Wonder about his or her place among the brilliant points of light. Wonder about the very nature of the stars, and therefore wonder about the very nature of themselves. Though through the ages our default was to worship under the sheer influence of their majesty, slowly but surely our curiosity led us to conquer the ocean itself, to reach out and touch the corners of our own world. Looking up, we let heaven itself guide our course across the sea, along the way discovering that we were in fact not alone on the patch of dirt from which we disembarked on the journey. The stars would guide mankind to new lands, new worlds, and new life. Inevitably, as more time would pass and more new worlds would be discovered, we would continue our gaze upward, all the while asking questions of ourselves and developing new methods to test those questions. By looking upward, asking questions, and testing those questions, eventually we created the tools to look deeper into the heavens than previously conceivable, and eventually ask an inconceivable question. Could we go there? In 1962, at Rice University in Houston, Texas, President John F. Kennedy would call upon an army of multinational talent of every race and every background to ensure that which made us the most powerful nation on Earth would propel mankind to the moon itself.
But I do say that space can be explored and mastered without feeding the fires of war, without repeating the mistakes that man has made in extending his writ around this globe of ours. There is no strife, no prejudice, no national conflict in outer space as yet. Its hazards are hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind, and its opportunity for peaceful cooperation may never come again. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
And with that challenge, and within 7 short years, 3 men sitting on the shoulders of giants, fueled by the desire to honor those who gave their own lives in this pursuit, would strap themselves to the most powerful machine ever created in human history and hurtled themselves violently out of Earth's grip at over 17,000 miles per hour to reach the terrifying serenity of nothingness. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins would spend the next 3 days in close-quartered isolation. A unique predicament to feel cramped while floating through the almost complete nothingness of outer space. Each day, home growing smaller while the prize grew bigger. Apollo 11 would enter orbit around the moon about 75 hours after launch. While 3 days of isolation would be torment in itself, communications blackout during the portion of orbit which found the spacecraft on the opposite side of the moon must have been surreal. For about 3 minutes, the crew were temporarily the only living human beings to be completely cut off from their species and home altogether. No person alive or dead has been further away and more out of reach than those who have been in orbit around the moon. Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins were seasoned professionals, however, enduring years of training and preparation. As the three approached the landing site in the Sea of Tranquility, the lunar module would detach from the command module, leaving Michael Collins behind to maintain lunar orbit while Armstrong and Aldrin made the final descent. Then, on July 20th, 1969, 2:17 Central Standard Time.
5%. 185. 875 feet. That's looking good. Down a half. 6 forward. 60 seconds. Lights on. 6. Down 2.5. Forward. Forward. Head. 40 feet, down 2.5. Picking up some dust. 30 feet, 2.5 down. Straight shadow. 4 forward. 4 forward, drifting to the right a little. Down a half. 30 seconds. Forward, just. Okay. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
And then came the words, perhaps the most famous words, famous sentence ever uttered in human history. That allowed the entire world to come together as one and forget, at least temporarily, our problems and be shown what we can do when we put away petty things and petty disagreements and come together to achieve something greater than ourselves.
I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Geek Therapy Radio, and especially this last segment, my tribute to the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing. And I just want to leave the audience, anybody listening to the broadcast as it airs on the anniversary of the moon landing, anybody listening to the podcast, I want to leave you with these thoughts. My hope for the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing is to inspire you. I hope that we can all look to what we have achieved 50 years ago and not question and not be angry that we haven't been back to the moon or that progress seems to be slow on that front. But to remind ourselves of what we can do as a human civilization when we come together in a country that allows for such a thing to happen. We put away your differences, skin color, race, religion. Let it be a reminder of what we can do when we all team together to do something greater than ourselves. Keep looking to the stars. Stay curious, embrace your inner geek, and I'll see you next week.